Good morning, Wade.
Good morning, Gary. And I don't know who you are talking. I thought it was Ogeba you were describing, but Ogeba is on leave now. Good morning. It's great to be here for Everyday Money Matters with my anchor, Gary. And with us, we have two of my brilliant people with me. Introduce yourselves, please.
I am Shegun. Yes.
All right, Shegun.
You know me already. I'm Tolu.
Yes, but you know, Shegun just proved that he's not a gentleman. He forgot to do ladies first. I didn't stop it. I was just looking at him that, shame yourself in the open. Shame yourself. But anyway, good to have you guys join us.
Good to be here for ENM. What are we talking about today? Exchange rates.
A very basic thing. And how we don't know. Yeah, I mean, basic because we don't. It's something that affects us our everyday life, but we don't know it. When they're telling you, I leave the exchange, all those people they import and they do this government, and we move on. But that exchange rate determines how often you breathe, how fast your heart beats.
So whether the poor can breathe is the exchange rate.
Exactly.
But the exchange rate is coming down.
It is.
Yeah.
But I asked the question: what made it go up? What is making it come down?
Well, we need to understand seasons, and this is a season where exchange rate is coming back into Nigeria, so there's a lot being spent. We might see it go up. We might start to see it go up again in January when people are leaving. School fees is going to be paid, accommodation fees, and things like that. But today we are not talking about that. We're talking about how it affects our daily lives.
Exactly.
So, Shego, how does it affect you on a daily basis?
Well, first off, from transportation, because the fact that Nigeria, for now, is a country that relies quite heavily on imported fuel. So the fluctuation of the dollar is going to, or should I say, pretty much affect in that regard. And then most of us, especially Tolu and I's generation, we rely heavily on these digital platforms that are paid for in dollars, such as from Spotify to Netflix to Prime Video, and most of the time, the prices just skyrocket. So that's from our perspective, that's the way it affects us.
God, they should just trust one job. We know nothing about digital.
Sorry. So yes, basically from the Netflix, your subscriptions, your daily life, your even feeding, all of this really affects every individual with the fluctuation in the exchange rates. So technically, how have you been able to minimize your spendings and all of that? We all know now that it's affecting us, right? Yes. So what's the way forward?
Gen that like all these apps. Go on, how do we get out of this? Maybe Kyle should tell us. Say, Kyle, you see, don't use digital. Maybe it doesn't affect. Who do I know? What do I know? No, tell us so.
No, but when he was talking about the platform, I almost said to use Roku TV. What do you mean by? But really, it's exchange rates affects a lot more than that for me. I'm not even looking at the digital. We parents, we look at before you think of digital and your life. You think about what you're going to spend. I hear now that chicken is 25,000, and when you talk for one, that's what I heard on the show yesterday.
Huh?
And I'm like, that must be a small goat, not a chicken. Because and when you're looking and you ask around, you are told, it is the chicken feed. A lot of the things we import. The Pure Water Manufacturer Association will tell you that. The rubber bag, is it poly whatever it is that it's called, that rubber transport bag, the sachet polythene, thank you. Okay. Polythene bag, that white one, that the local ones are not strong enough, they import it, and I'm like, what do you mean? So almost everything we do is dependent on the dollar. I don't know if now we do toothpick in Nigeria, because remember under Jonathan, there were talks that even up to toothpick we import. So if you look at that and look at everything that the spare parts for your cars, a lot of people now that would normally can't stand noise in their cars, they manage it now. They tell you it's not that bad. It's not bad now, because that way a day it reverberate. So and the thing they make you and these are people who, for every little noise they hear, they react immediately, spend money. But you can't do that anyhow right now. I need to do some work on my windscreen. I'm wondering, It was 40,000, 45,000 about. I mean, hey, that's up to 8 months now. So I don't know how much that will cost.
45,000 8 months ago.
Yeah.
Where are you living?
My brother.
But I think the good thing about all this is, has it changed our spending habits? To a large extent, I think Nigerians are beginning to realign themselves. If you don't earn foreign exchange, then you try as much as possible not to spend. But remember that we always say, and I think is a good way and I that continues to say, spend now, save later. And people think that when we said that, we just didn't know what we were talking about. And the reason is simple: prices are going up every day for every single thing. Like Shegu mentioned, transportation. Netflix has increased their subscription now. It's 5,500 for two viewers. I don't even know what 4 viewers are. Amazon had increased theirs, but they've still been a bit stable.
On Spotify.
You see, you digital people, you are the ones that are thinking about foreign exchange. But what do we? So it has changed the way we spend money to a large extent, and that is something we need to put at the back of our heads. Why? Because we're mostly a consumer nation. And because we understand the fact that we're a consumer nation, 70-80% of the goods or the things or goods and services that you require in Nigeria has an input that needs foreign exchange. So whether it's raw materials, even what's it called? The wheat that is used in brewing for those who drink beer. There are so many things that even the production in Nigeria cannot meet. So there's a need for us to first and foremost step back, check our expense portfolio, and maybe just start to weed out the things that we think, we believe are not really necessary. But Tolu, over to you.
So we know that exchange rate is unpredictable, and we've broken down how you've seen, from transportation to your subscription to your school fees and all of that. So what is the way forward? I think generally people should start investing in getting a dollar job earnings, for the Gen Zs and the millennials as well. You can, there are applications websites whereby you can apply for all these remote jobs that can help cut costs. The remote will help you cut costs in terms of transportation, while the dollar helps you to navigate
augment your dollar expenses
as well. So I want to ask generally, and this goes for Shegun, do you think it's advisable to save your earnings in dollars, or you should just continue converting your money and just spending it in naira?
Well, up to an extent, if foreign spending is not your, should I say, goal per se, I don't think it's necessary. I think what I would have advised, for anyone trying to mitigate the effects of the currency fluctuation, first of all, just like Mr. Wade correctly said, we are a solely consumer-based country. So we stepping back, apart from priority, or should I say, we prioritizing our spending now. We looking inwards and patronizing home-based producers, because most of these things that we are actually importing, Nigerians make those things themselves. And I don't know, we just would rather. But to your question,
can you give us like an example of
yes, even most people, do just even what up to what you and I are wearing. We'd rather go for the Turkey, to say Italian shoe, Turkey bag, and all of these things, because we are not exporting enough. Our foreign reserves, we just keep importing, and so that is why these this currency fluctuation is going to have such an effect on us. But back to your question on how if it is advisable to save in dollars, if foreign spending is not your priority, I don't think it is necessary to save in dollar. What you can rather do is negotiate to make payments in naira for if you are to make purchases. So, and like I said, look inwards for local producers of products. So
and Kai, I think I tend to agree with Shego on that. If you're, the other thing I think you should also do is look at your expense portfolio. Are you with me? How much of it is in foreign currency and how much of it is in local currency? That's one. And then that starts to help you determine how much do I need to put away in foreign currency, and then start to look at, if you only earn in naira, how do you manage the fluctuations? When is the right time to buy, towards saving, towards making that expense? But like you rightly said, how do you even earn in foreign currency? You know, remote jobs. A number of Nigerians are jackpot because of the fact that, you know, a lot of them, you know, believe that there are better economic times outside Nigeria. And I'm not just talking about UK, Canada and all. I'm talking about Nigerians who are moving to African countries. Nigerians who are working in African countries as expatriates so that they can earn some. And so when you were talking about earning in foreign currency, it's not just the UK, or look at other African countries that require the kind of services that you provide, and there are a number of them looking for expats, and there are a number of Nigerians based on their experience, based on their qualifications, and so on and so forth, that fit into those things. So it's important that you determine what your foreign portfolio expenditure is, and see how you can earn and then pay with those, and then determine what your local naira portfolio is. And truly, in Nigeria, we pay in naira, and we know that the government has also said stop dollarizing amounts. Yeah, no, it should be $100. No, it's in naira, because that's what we earn and that's what we pay, and so that's what I think is the best way. But go on.
Yeah. Well, I hear what you say, right? And it is these are good advices you're giving to people this morning. But my major concern is, if you look at the population of Nigeria, maybe the working population, let's even say 30% of the 200 million, which amounts to about 60 million people working and fending for the rest of the family. Now, how many of those people actually earn forex? That's one question we should ask, because if you're talking about how to travel abroad, how to look at other African countries, the average person within Lagos Island or Alimosho, how can that person manage the impact of dollarization or FX on what he or she does in Nigeria?
Wow, that's a brilliant question, Kari, and I think it takes us to the next area where we really need to talk about, which is, should government stabilize exchange rate? I think yes, they should try and stabilize it. We've seen what the CBN has been doing over the last 18 months. However, I am a strong advocate for creating an enabling environment for production to thrive in Nigeria, and there are a number of factors that need to come in. You need to check in security. You were talking about that this morning. Has it gone down? Has it not gone down? We don't hear news about them anymore. So except it really affects us, we don't know whether it's gone up or gone down. That's one. The second part of it, and which for me I think is a critical part towards ensuring that we turn the mark in terms of how we look at the Nigerian economy, and that's power. I know the Minister of Power has said, we require over $10 billion, investment over the next 5 years. And it brings me back to that dollarization. If the government is continually saying we require this, and the reason is because we really depend on those equipments that come from outside Nigeria. So how do you stabilize it? First and foremost, create an enabling environment, create incentives for those who want to invest in production, in creating employment in Nigeria that will pay naira. You have the expertise, get more people working, get more people, build newer infrastructure that is not going to be out of this world in terms of cost, and so on. Oh, you're smiling, but there are different ways to do it. I've experienced it in my lifetime, so there are ways that it can be done. So when people talk about private public partnership, I always laugh. It's been in existence forever, even in Nigeria. It happened in Lagos over a 4-year period, and we saw the transformation in Lagos between 1979 and 1983. So it's not rocket science, in my own opinion, but it's just the way people approach it now, like it's one big thing. And that's the thing that government needs to do: create the incentives that would put investments in naira. You can't have over 100 trillion in the economy and you can't feel it. So that's it. But on your everyday life, like you said earlier, you need to look at your expenses, determine which is naira, because most of the monies you earn is in naira. For those who are continually saying, "Oh, maybe I need to send my kids abroad," I think this is a good time to take a step back. Nigerian universities, Nigerian schools are still delivering to a high extent quality education. Let's not miss that. It might be a bit expensive, but let's remember that we earn in naira, and the other part of that is government should focus on, for me, primary and secondary education, because that's what creates the mass of people who would tomorrow be your workforce, and you can't change that 80-20 rule, and that and so on. So those are things that we need to consider, we as individuals. Spend now if you really need to spend.
Individuals, for like small business owners as well, you could, and for Nigerians, you should go to platforms like Nairametrics, whereby we give daily exchange updates, so that you know when to import goods and you know when to buy goods. You understand? When you're doing that small business, for startups, importing from China, and when is the right time to buy and sell.
And I agree with you. And like Chego also said, look for those local people who are providing those raw materials for you, because first things first, you will pay in naira, and that's critical.
Yeah, that's critical, and it's important that we talk about this, because like you said earlier on, it is, when you look at one of the easiest ways to save now is by spending. Do you know what I mean? Because if, for example, you want to buy something and you're thinking, okay, I'll buy it, let me give you some time, maybe the price will drop. It's better you buy it now, because all you buy for 2,000 naira now, in a matter of weeks, might be worth maybe 3,000 or 4,000 naira. And so if you're able to buy like few weeks before then, you've actually saved 2,000 naira, though when you were buying it then, it was painful. You didn't have the money. You had to deprive yourself of certain things just to be able to do it, to do the purchase at that time. So, like that popular saying goes, what is worth doing at all is worth doing well. And the best time to start is now. Is now. Now, do you think, okay, you've spoken about stabilizing the naira as well, but is there anything that the average Nigerian during our day-to-day expenses can do to ensure the stability of the naira?
Let me take that one. First off, I believe diversification is key. First off, I think each person should be able to spread their risk appetite over time and invest in inflation resistant assets. We have, I think, treasury bills, mutual funds, real estate per se. When you prepare ahead, it helps you even mitigate these effects, and it wouldn't have as much. So it's just best to just foresee the future. That's something the regular Nigerian can do. Spread your risk portfolio. Just spread don't put all your eggs in one basket.
All right.
That's something I would advise.
Let me just quickly add to what Shegu said, and what's you made a very brilliant point there. Spread your risk portfolio. Speak to your portfolio managers. Read Nairametrics to even know what's going on, so that you know what you are speaking to your portfolio managers about. Listen to Follow the Money with Ugodre every Monday, where he gives you tips, even on the capital market. There's been a lot that has happened in the capital markets again this year, and these are all critical tips that come out from our website. Listen to what's the name of the other one? Money Talks. Listen to all the other programs and podcasts we have on our YouTube channels, where you would get up-to-date information, where you will get the right kind of analysis from experts who are telling you what the best thing to do should be, and so on and so forth. So don't just think is Tolu, Shego and I sitting down here that have all the information, but just go onto our YouTube channels. You would see there is a podcast that we're running currently, which is called The Novice, where those who know nothing about finance, about the economy, would listen to experts break it down like, you just started learning ABC and 1, 2, 3. And these are critical things for you as individuals, as small businesses, that you need to take advantage of. The Gen Zs especially, who are going into business, because a lot of them want to be entrepreneurs, and these are programs that you can listen to, and you can better understand how the business world goes.
Interesting. So some solutions have been preferred there, and if you are going out there, okay, but before we speak to the people, we've heard of people that for every million or 10 million they make, or 5 million, some have said 15 or 20 million they make, they convert directly to dollars. Does that have any impact on our currency?
Oh yes, it does. And because it's savings. Don't get me wrong. It's so those who do that are trying to save. It's not speculative, because it's a strategy or a model that they believe will work for them, not today or tomorrow. And then you also go and have to look at it, that do those people have expenditure in foreign currency? So when I have the money, why don't I just buy it and hold it, rather than saying, no, it's time to pay school fees, and then that's when I'm looking for it. Okay. And let's also remember, at that point in time, I never have the naira.
Or the dollars might not be available.
Even if the dollar is available, I earn naira. Let me give an example. If you earn salary and they pay you on the 30th, on the 31st of each month, and then school fees is on the 1st. Are you with me? School fees is on the 25th. What do? You might now need to go and borrow against your salary. Yeah. So you pay interest on one side. Are you with me?
Yeah.
The amount of money, so let's say you need 1 million naira, you go and borrow 1 million and pay interest. Then you will now still buy 1 million. You spend the 1 million to buy the foreign currency at a rate that if you had been saving, if you had been buying the 1 million, if you had been spending, for instance, 100,000 every month, by October you would have finished buying it. So these are things you need to also sit down and, like you said, read, go to our website, go to our YouTube channels, listen to our podcasts, listen to our programs on radio, Everyday Money Matters, like we're speaking about now, and Follow the Money with Ugodre every Monday, where ATM on Classic, where he speaks to you about capital markets. Here we talk to you about everyday life. Even me, I take the tips I've heard from Gen Z today. I'm not digitally savvy, but at least the one thing I know is that I also have Gen Zs who are digitally savvy, and I know what the impact could be on my pocket, because data is one, the kind of what's it called, platforms they want to be on. What do I do? Anyway, that's it. So
I'll wrap up with this question. about trade.
In 1 minute.
About
in
trade
1 minute.
surplus.
Yeah.
About
Trade surplus. Ugodre talked about trade surplus and trade
deficit.
deficit. So would you say that trade surplus is like the way forward?
You know what, Tolu? This trade surplus question, we'll move it to 2 platforms. One, Tuesdays and Thursdays, join Nairametrics on X for the Nairametrics X Spaces. Make sure that you join. You get a lot more about trade surplus and every other thing you want to know around finance. And we'll be back here on Wednesday next week. We'll get into details of this. I want to let Tolu use her sweet voice and that cute face to make me extend the program beyond this. It's December, so I must be of my best behavior so it won't affect my salary.
Your salary, or the people who pay your salary.
And on YouTube as well.
And on YouTube. And of course on Spotify as well. So Nairametrics, go to Spotify platforms, our podcast platforms, to follow Nairametrics. You'll be able to follow a lot of myriad of content that they channel every time, just to make sure they educate the average Nigerian. And on YouTube, let the conversation continue. And don't forget nairametrics.com. You can read for those who like to read, but those who are auditory in nature when learning, just go to Spotify and YouTube, and you'll be safe.
For those who are visual too, not just auditory.
Yeah, that's it. Auditory and visual for YouTube. Thank you so much, Wade, Shegun, and Tolu.